Okay guys, welcome back. Now, obviously at this stage, hopefully you've gone over all the things that I've recorded in the previous videos to get you mentally prepared to start taking actual actions. Look, I've got a list of not 5, not 10, not 15, not 20, not 25, 30 plus actual action steps that I'm going to show you to take for you to be able to get your money back, okay? And I'm going to show you exactly how to take them, why you're going to be doing them, and how you're going to be leveraging that information to make sure that you get your money back, okay? So how you get your money, can you see it? Back, okay? So that's about 32 steps. I'm going to get into the how, the why, and how you leverage the information, okay? Pay attention, take notes. We'll arrange for you to download a PDF, but it's very important for you to listen to this because I've been doing this for 10 years. And my experience, I'm not trying to boast about it, my experience counts. I want you to be able to benefit out of this. And going through these 30 plus points, I don't want you to lose anything critical that might make a big difference for you to be able to get your money back, okay? So are we on point? Number 1, you're going to decide that you're about to study the entire transaction, okay? So what do you do as one? You study, okay? I'm just putting study because I gotta cover 30 points over here. Let's say transaction, okay? So let's say study the transaction, okay? This is extremely critical because you have to get your brain around how the entire transaction has inspired or conspired or transpired, okay? From the start all the way to the finish, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to decide, I'm going to study the transaction, and then point number 2, you're going to, while you're studying, right? This is not a study where you just decide, okay, this is how the transaction went about. You're going to gather all the written, all the verbal, all the WhatsApp, all the email communication that has happened between you and the developer up till today, and you're going to gather it all in one place. Now, don't forget, I'm saying everything, right? So I'm saying emails, WhatsApp, all the brochures, the reservation forms, the SBA, the marketing collateral, like everything. You've got to get it all together in one place. And I'll tell you why this is going to be very important. I'll just break away from the actions you're supposed to be taking to why it's very critical. There was one case where the developer had promised my client tennis courts as part of the development, okay? That's what the marketing collateral said. Now, as I explained to you, RERA's role is to make sure that investments are smoothly taken up by investors and they're not defrauded. So if I sell to my investors overseas and I say, look, the property is right next to the beach, or you've got seafront views in the brochure, the marketing collateral, but in reality, I'm not delivering that and the property is like 2 kilometers away from the beach, RERA is going to take notice of that, right? Gone are the days where you could promise anything to your investors and then in the marketing collateral and then just change it towards the end, right? So this was a case where the developer had promised tennis courts, okay? I don't know if I remember correctly whether it said full-size tennis courts or it just said tennis courts, which is great, right? So if you as an investor are going to have a tennis court as part of the development, that means it's a luxury development, it's great. Guess what the developer actually did in the end? They found a mini spot on the roof of the building and they decided, well, we did promise a tennis court, we might as well provide the tennis court, and they made something that looked like a tennis court. But have you ever seen one of those table tennis tables? Like instead of the full large size proper table tennis table, people are playing on a small table tennis ping pong table. That's what essentially the developer had done, right? Now this is something that's going to be fodder for your case, right? Fuel for the fire to keep you going, to get your money back, right? You got to be collecting all the information, because I'm going to tell you the developers sometimes make a lot of missteps with that I'm going to explain to you that you're going to be able to use in your favor to be able to get your money back, okay? Number 3, you're going to study all the DLD laws. Okay, now before you say, oh my God, what are you talking about? I gotta study the DLD laws. Here's something brilliant about Dubai, okay? It's something that they've done that's very beneficial. They've taken all the real estate investment laws, and you gotta understand that Dubai, like, this was new to me, but this is amazing. This is amazing how human societies work, right? The law does not cover every single eventuality. What the law does is give a guide to a judge to be able to make a decision that's fair for all parties, okay? So essentially speaking, when I say study all the Dubai Land Department laws, I'm going to put a link for you to be able to download this book. How big is this book? That book's like pretty thin. The book's going to be in Arabic and English. You can just read the English part. Obviously, the Arabic in Dubai, in the UAE, takes prevalence over the English translation, but essentially speaking, you need to just understand the laws, because you're going to be using those laws later and citing some of them. Before you get scared, you're going to be using those laws to be able to scare the developer into paying you, essentially speaking, because when they know that you know the law, and you don't have to be a lawyer to know the law. I'm not a lawyer, right? I know the law, and I can quote the law to somebody. Like in Dubai, I know it's against the law to litter. I could tell if I find somebody littering, I can, instead of saying, hey, don't litter, it's bad manners, I can just go up to the person and say, excuse me, sir, it's against the law to litter, right? Will that make sense? Am I quoting the law? Yes. Okay, cool. So that's number 3. Number 4, you're going to study the sales and purchase agreement, reservation agreement, and the sales and purchase agreement. This is the SPA that you have signed, okay, previously, okay? The point 4 and 5, essentially speaking. You're going to study the reservation agreement from A to B, Z rather. You're going to study the sales and purchase agreement from A to Z completely 3 times minimum. You're going to read it all. Look, if you have a bare minimum understanding of English, you'll be able to understand the SPA and the reservation form. The reason you're doing this is you're looking for holes that we're going to later leverage. Okay, how to read the SPA? It's a pretty plain English. Why are you reading it? To leverage it later in the way to force the developer to give you your rights. Okay, now here's something that you need to know. Some clauses and terms and conditions in the reservation form and the SPA are going to contravene the Dubai Land Department or whichever city of the UAE you've invested in, the laws of the city. Okay, you should know that these laws take precedence over whatever is mentioned in the SPA and the reservation form. I'll give you an example. This was common. One of the quasi-government developers used to do this. Essentially speaking, they would, so in Dubai, it's a law that a developer from whatever date he or she has stipulated for the delivery of the project, the developer is allowed by law to be late by 1 year without any penalties. Now, RERA has helped this law to come into being, because you got to understand as a buyer. Now, you might come to me and say, why should a developer be allowed to delay the delivery of a project by 1 year? What you need to understand is the reason they're allowed to delay this is essentially because sometimes it's beyond the control of the developer, right? Perhaps there's a road that's cutting through, perhaps there's no electricity over there, there's no water over there, things that are beyond beyond the ability of the developer to control, right? So if the developer can't control something, they're being given that leeway of almost a full year, 12 months, to be delayed. Now, this quasi-government developer used to put a clause in their contract that they are allowed by you, and you're agreeing to this, to delay the project by 2 years. Now, this quasi-government developer almost always delivers their projects on time, maybe a maximum 4 to 6 months delay, but they put this 2-year clause. Guess what's going to prevail if things went to court? The DLD laws, the government laws, right? Any clauses that lawyers make that contravene the government laws are going to be thrown away, okay? Number 6, okay, intelligence gathering, okay? This is critical, so might as well actually write it in red. But your job at this stage, after you've done this, after you've studied the transaction, after you've gathered all the communication between you, studied the DLD laws, studied the reservation form and the sales and purchase agreement, your job at this stage is going to be something very critical, and you're going to do intelligence gathering. It's super important. You're going to covertly talk to agents at the developer without revealing your particular property or your particular unit, because you don't want to tell those agents that you're distressed or you can't make any payments or you're looking to go to court or RERA. You just want to talk to those agents and understand. You know, you could, I'm not encouraging you to lie, but you could call in and say, one of my friends has this problem. He cannot do this, or, you know, one of my friends, you're not completing the building and he's looking for some kind of solution, but you don't talk at this stage because you're at intelligence gathering. Like, try to think about this. When spies go to another country, they don't go, generally speaking, they don't go straight to the president or the CEO to spy on what he's thinking. They go and infiltrate the troops, right? You'll infiltrate the secret intelligence agency on the other side. You will try to talk to the soldiers who are on the front line. You'll try to assess what the defense ministry is trying to do, right? Essentially speaking, right? You don't go straight to the top. So at this stage, you're going to be doing a ton of intelligence gathering from the bottom up. So you're going to be talking to agents at the developer off the record. You're going to be talking to back office people off the record, right? You call them up, you become friends with them, take them to dinner or lunch if you need to, and just try to assess what is currently going on in the developer situation. Why do you do this, right? Sometimes the agents will tell you, yeah, you know, there's a lot of people who are defaulting, there's a lot of people who've lost jobs, there's certain resolutions that we are implementing to help these people, so on and so forth. So you're gathering that information from the developer's office. Then you go to the market and you see, check online, all the agents who are advertising those properties. What essentially you do is you talk to those agents and then bring up the same problem. Tell them, look, this is a situation. Do you have a solution? Is there something that you can recommend? Again, it's off the record. You don't identify yourself or the property to these agents, right? Then you're going to be, after you've done this, talk to anybody and everyone who you can gather information from. After this, you're going to formulate a strategy, okay? What do I mean by formulating a strategy, okay? Let's put it over here. So can you still see this? Formulate strategy, okay? I'm going to be also, there's one other video that's going to be stuff that developers have done wrong. See, here's the situation. When I'm helping you try to get your money back. I do realize that sometimes the developers have done nothing wrong, okay? So there's 3 kinds of scenarios. The developer has done something wrong. You are entitled to get your money back. The developer has not done anything wrong. You actually made a mistake in going into an investment, so you're at fault, but that doesn't matter right now. I'm still trying to help you get your money back. Sometimes the situation, like we've had this corona situation, just makes it impossible for you to be able to continue. You deserve a chance to get your full money back or part of your money back, or a settled resolution. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all the available, not all the available, but maybe 10, 20 list of things that sometimes developers have done wrong, right? Because after you've done all of this, you're at a very good place to actually come up with a strategy that's going to work, that's going to make you and help you be able to get your money back, okay? And I'll give you some examples, okay? What could be some things in that strategy, okay? Maybe you've paid money in a non-escrow compliant account, so no escrow. So I need to get about 30 points on here, so I'm going to make them really small. So maybe you put in money in non-escrow. Maybe the floor plan has been changed beyond its usage to you, right? So if the floor plan was changed because 100 square feet was shaved off, that's easily rectified. But if the floor plan from a 2-bedroom with a maid's room was just made a 2-bedroom, and you want to have a maid with her own place in your apartment, or a 3-bedroom with a maid's room, and now it's only a 3-bedroom, this is pretty big, right? Currently, I don't know how long this situation will last, but one big thing is something called force majeure, okay? Now, generally speaking, all contracts, so just so you can see it, all contracts, every contract almost that's worth its salt has a clause of force majeure in it. Force majeure, I think it's a French word, but essentially what it means that it's essentially acts of God that are beyond anybody's control. So the developer's not at fault, you're not at fault, but something has happened like war, earthquake, corona, that is now making it pretty financially impossible for you to continue in the situation, or the developer to continue. Now, for example, developers who are going to be delaying projects now are going to cite corona as force majeure. They're going to say, because of corona, we can't continue, our workforce can't come up, our sales can't happen, so our buildings are going to be delayed, and you, Mr. Buyer, can't do nothing about it. Same thing should apply to you. If you've lost your job, if you've had to move countries, God forbid there's been a death, divorce, etc., etc. These are situations beyond your control that affect it, but it's a golden opportunity for you to use this. I don't want to be rude when I say play this card, but it's a golden opportunity for you to use the situation and really go after the developer and get a quick resolution, get your money back, because even courts in Dubai are allowing force majeure clauses to be applied. Actually, I shouldn't say the courts in Dubai because I'm not a lawyer, but I know in rental contracts, courts are now saying that you can terminate your contract without a penalty using force majeure, such as the corona situation, okay? So this is a golden opportunity for you, okay? Number 9. So as you were doing recon, you're now going to also, here's something that you need to do, okay? You're going to now that you've done all the recon and the intelligence gathering, you at this stage, by the way, should know who the CEO is of the company, of the developer, who the vice president of finance is, vice president of marketing is, who the chief operating officer is, so on and so forth. You know, all this information you can get from LinkedIn, Facebook, so on and so forth. Also, during your intelligence gathering, there's always an opportunity for you to be able to get to know somebody in the developer's office who knows somebody who's a good friend of yours, right? So you can always use that to your advantage at a later stage, not at this stage. But now, what do? You start with getting the email addresses of the CEO, COO, and the CFO, okay? Not the sales director, not the salespeople, not the marketing people, but the CEO, the COO, and the CFO, right? The CEO is the person with the ultimate authority to be able to make a decision that doesn't harm his organization, especially if they are contravening some laws in the DLD or otherwise, okay? Or if they've done you wrong, right? The COO, the Chief Operating Officer, is the person whose job is to make sure that operations move up smoothly, and the CFO obviously is in charge of the money, right? So even if the CEO and COO authorize a refund to you, the money is coming from the CFO, and what you need to do at this stage is make sure that everybody is in line. Now, I wouldn't advise this because this goes and so this one part I don't advise is please do not offer a bribe to anybody over here. Okay, so don't offer a bribe. A lot of times people who are looking to seek a resolution might go up to the CFO and then say, look, if you can help me get my 300,000 dirhams back, I'm willing to give you a 10% success fee, right? So 10% or 30,000. This is like a bribe, which can get him into trouble and can get you into trouble, okay? Oftentimes there are agents who are working in the developer's office who will offer that to you, or the admin or the back office people will tell you, like, if you pay me 5,000 dirhams, I can help you get this done. Now the thing is, it's their job to help you get things resolved anyways. However, so they shouldn't be actually asking for money, but they are, okay? And if they are asking for money, essentially speaking, it's going to turn into a bribe that you're giving to them. I personally would suggest that you shouldn't. What you could do is become very good friends with them, and if things do go your way, then you could, send them a gift. But in promising it initially can turn into a bribe, and it could become a police case, right? So you don't want to do that. You've got enough issues going on. After this, there's an email you're going to find in the PDFs in drafted emails that I use to communicate with developers to start off with, okay? Because essentially speaking, after you've done all of this and you formulated a strategy, okay? And you formulated, let's use blue so it's clear, and you formulated a strategy, this is the time that you're going to actually send them the first email. Why is an email very important, very critical? Is because you're putting everything on paper, on record. You do not speak to the developer on the phone and say, I want a refund, you're not helping me, etc., etc. You do not go in personally in the beginning with your face to embarrass yourself and to embarrass everybody over there, thinking that you're just going to get away with it and be able to get money. You need to put it on record, and email allows you to play this game of chess. This is not a hitting contest where you go in and just punch faster, harder, and hope that the money just flows back in. Email allows you to play this game like you should be playing chess. Who do you send that first email to? You send that first email to the CEO. Okay, that's very, 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 very critical. The reason you do that is because he is the decision maker, right? Have you ever heard of the saying, if you want to kill the snake, cut off the head? If you want to get a decision made, go to the decision maker. Have you ever realized that salespeople always only want to talk to the decision maker? They don't want to talk to people who are at the bottom rung, right, or the riffraff. And essentially speaking, what you as an untrained professional in this area are probably doing at this stage are talking to the customer service. You're probably talking to the maybe maximum chief operating officer, maybe the chief financial officer. Maybe your intelligence is telling you, the intelligence gathering you've got is telling you that the CFO is the one with the real reins in his hand. That's fine, but generally speaking, the CEO is the CEO for a reason, which is why I always suggest that you should be talking directly to the CEO, but you shouldn't be picking up the phone at this stage. You need to send him an email. Now here's the thing, how do you ensure that the CEO is going to get the email? You become friends with his PA. You become absolute buddies with his personal assistant. Because any developer, small, big, or large, you call and you ask to speak to the CEO, they're not going to put you through, right? Then it's not going to be like, oh, sir, let me patch you through and you can speak to the CEO. All the time is going to be something like this. Hi, could I speak to Mr. Nisar? Let's say he's the CEO. Who's this? This is Fahd Dawood from XYZ company. What's the reason, sir? What do you say? It's the personal matter. Okay, no problem, but the CEO is not here because they never want to patch you through to the CEO. Not a problem. Can you put me through to his PA, to his secretary, right? You call up the secretary, okay, and you say, listen, I need to send a very important email to the CEO. Would you please kindly share his email address with me? She's going to say, what's it about? Just say I'm a customer, but I'm very angry at a certain situation. Do not disclose what the situation is at this moment in time. Just say I'm very pissed off at a certain situation. I really would love it. And by the way, your voice is amazing. Thank you so much. I bet you get these calls all day long. And the fact that I can feel that you're smiling on the other side of the phone makes me feel that you're an amazing person. And then she says, thank you very much for this amazing compliment. You do two things at this stage. You take the PA's email and the CEO's email. The reason you do this is because CEOs generally do not read email themselves, okay? PAs will generally read them, filter them, and only pass on emails to the CEO which are of absolute importance, urgency, and relevance to the CEO. But the way you ensure that the CEO gets that email is you get his email address and you get the PA's email address. If the PA says, no, just send it to the CEO, I'm going to be looking at it, say, I'd still love to send it to you, Miss PA, as well, okay? So you make sure that you're actually sending it to the PA as well, okay? Now, you might be still asking or wondering, what is the guarantee that the CEO is actually going to see the email that you're sending, right? Here's the thing. There is no guarantee, okay? There is absolute no guarantee, but you got to make it certain that the CEO sees it, okay? So this is a trick that I've used several times. I've even reached ambassadors of countries like Canada with my communication. You FedEx. So what you're going to see in the email, I'm going to explain in a bit, and there's sample templates of exactly how you approach the situation in the email. But how do you make sure that the CEO sees the email? Okay, check this out. The CEO is getting hundreds of emails per day, per week. His PA or her PA is filtering out those emails to make sure that the CEO is not bothered. Your email is going to be one of them. And the moment the PA receives that email, she's going to say, forget it, right? Or she's just going to tell the CEO, and maybe there's other people who in your similar situation trying to get the CEO's attention to resolve this situation for them. You're going to go one step further. You're going to spend a little bit of money, especially if you're out of country. But if you're in town in Dubai, it's the easiest, or you could get one of your relatives to do this. You print the actual email that you're sending the CEO by email. You sign it with your actual signature. Okay? What is said in the email, there's a template, so you can follow that. And you courier it to the CEO. And once it gets couriered, either the CEO will get it directly himself, most likely even at this stage, the PA or the personal assistant or the executive secretary will open the letter, and then she's going to look at the letter, and then she's going to say, I got this as an email as well. This guy is not one to be messed with. He is absolutely serious in what he is saying in his email. I better get this straight to the CEO's attention. And this is very, 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 very critical for you to do, okay? Let's cut here, and then I'm going to go into exactly what the contents of the email are going to be, okay?